Hello, and welcome back to Habitual. Today is a yoga for soccer players. This one is near and dear to my heart. I played for the longest time. This yoga flow will help you be more powerful in your follow through with your kicks, and then also nail out some fast sprints, just having that hip mobility. And then we'll also get in and just give some love to your IT band, your quad muscle group, and your hamstrings. So let's go ahead and get into it. You can meet me on your hands and knees at the front of your mat. Hands directly under your shoulders, toes are tucked under. Inhale, open up for cow. Tuck your chin and your tailbone under for cat. And come back to a neutral spine. Go ahead and get into the yummy parts. Untuck your toes, send your hips back, child's pose. Your chest rests on your quads. Your hands are stretched out in front of you, forehead resting on the mat. Allow your quads to give your belly, your organs inside of your belly, just squish them up, give them a little massage. Relaxing your low back here, relaxing your glutes. And let your shoulder and your chest open up just a little bit. And on your next inhale, roll forward, coming onto your hands and knees once more. Tuck your toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Roll forward like a wave, coming into a high plank. And untuck your toes. Press into the tops of your feet. Let your quads stay up off of the mat. Shoulder blades come back together. Shoulders stay down away from your ears. Belly button in towards your spine. We're resting in upward facing dog here for 5 more breaths. Opening up the front side body. You can swivel your hips here. Having healthy mobile hips is such an advantage. Rocking side to side or finding stillness. We're here for 2 more breaths. And drop your knees down to the mat. Send your hips back, child's pose. Inhale, come up onto your hands and knees. Go ahead and sit back onto your bum. We're going to find 90-90. So I'll be facing this way so you can see. Have your right knee coming out in front of your right hip, straight out in front, and then your right ankle in line with your right knee, and your right toes flexed up towards your right shin. Then your left hip is coming directly out from your hip to your knee, and then a 90-degree angle in your knee, and a 90-degree angle in your left foot. Hands up overhead. Exhale, your hands can be by your side, resting here, or take your left hand to the top of your right knee and twist into it a little bit. If you're feeling pretty darn mobile in your hip, then leave your left hip glued to the mat and walk your hands out to the side. I'm going to stay in the seated posture. Breathe here. Inhale space into that left hip, and exhale, allow it to melt towards the mat. Inhale space, sit up nice and tall. And exhale. In through your nose and out through your nose. Go ahead and rock onto your bum. Windshield wiper your knees side to side here. And then other side, come back onto your seat. Swing your left foot around, your right foot back behind you. Find that 90-degree angle in your knee and your ankle on both sides. Your knee is directly in line with your right hip. Hands up overhead. And put your right hand on top of your left knee and your left hand back beside your left hip. Inhale space into that right hip. And exhale, let your groin melt towards the mat. Again, you're welcome to walk your hands out in front of you here. Or stay seated nice and tall. Keep your right hip glued into the mat wherever you go. We're here for 2 more breaths. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your nose. Inhale. And exhale, go ahead and swing your right leg around so that your right ankle is on top of your left knee and your left ankle is right under your right knee. Go ahead and take your hands to heart center here. Sit up nice and tall, and exhale. You can forward fold. Hands come out in front of you over your hips, or maybe you have enough pressure when you're just sitting like this. Take your posture. We're here for 5 breaths. Getting into the space in the outer right hip. Here for 2 more breaths. Walk your hands up under your body. Take your right foot off first. Plant it to the top side of your left quad. Take your left elbow and wrap it around your right knee so your left hand grabs onto your quad. Bring your left heel in and take your right hand back behind you, pressing into a seated spinal twist here. And unravel, bringing your hands out in front. Go ahead and let your right leg come onto the mat. Your left ankle comes onto the top of your right knee, and your right knee on top of your left ankle. Or your left knee on top of your right ankle. Inhale here, hands at heart center. And stay here or fold over your legs. We're here for 5 breaths. Inhale, bring your hands back under your body. Go ahead and plant your left foot down. Bring your right ankle in towards your bum. Take your right hand up overhead. Wrap your elbow around your knee. Right hand comes on top of your left quad. Left hand up overhead and twist into the spinal twist here. A little glute stretch with a spinal twist. And release. Unravel. Come back onto your hands and knees. Tuck your toes under, cinch your hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up into the air. Exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest. Send your right leg through so that your right foot is in line with your hip. And just lower your hip down to the mat. Press up. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and send it through. Finding low runner's lunge, drop your left knee down to the mat. And then step in. So you have 90 degrees in your leg on the ground and 90 degrees in your right leg. Tuck your pelvis under, and this may be enough for you. Just sitting right here with your pelvis tucked under, core is engaged, opening up that left hip flexor, or you can bring your left heel in towards your bum. We're here for 3 breaths. Last inhale. Exhale, release it down to the mat. Take your hands out in front of you, low runner's lunge. Heel to your right foot out to the side of the mat. Take your right hand onto the inside of your right quad for lizard, or you can lift your right hand up overhead and take it back to your left, the top of your left foot for a quad stretch. And release, bring your hand back to the mat, heel to your right foot under and across the mat so that your shin comes parallel with the top of the mat, coming into pigeon pose. You can be active here or walk your hands out in front of you, laying down onto the mat. One thing to note here is you can either stay active or lay down. You can also either be active or active with a quad stretch. There's a couple different options here. Pick the one that feels best to you. Just make sure the whole time that your shin is parallel with the top of your mat and your right foot is flexed. If not, you need to modify this posture by maybe putting a block underneath your right bum right here to give you a little support and be able to stretch or straighten out your shin so it's parallel with the top of the mat. Press your hands into the mat, tuck your left toes under, send it back, three-legged dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up, bring it in, knee to chest. Slide your left foot through, drop your hips down, and lift knee in towards your chest. Slide it through, come into your low lunge, and then step up for a 90-degree on both knees. Tuck your pelvis under and either stay right here, or if you still need a little bit more on the front right hip flexor, bring your heel in towards your bum. Exhale, release your right foot back down to the mat. Bring your hands down to the mat and heel to your left foot out to the side. Coming back into that lizard, you can stay right here rocking onto the left outer edge of your left foot, or take your left hand to the top of your left knee, pressing it out, or bend your right foot in and take your left hand all the way back to meet your right foot. Bring your hand back underneath. Plant it on the mat and heel toe your left foot across the mat so that your left foot's on the right side of the mat. Shin is parallel with the top of the mat, pressing up into an active pigeon pose. Or again, if you like, walk your hands out so you're laying stretched out. Or active pigeon pose with the left hand and right hand comes back behind you to grab onto the top of that right foot. Your choice here. And go ahead and rock onto that left hip. Take your feet out wide and walk your hands out in front of you, getting a nice stretch down the middle of your thigh or the inner thighs. You can stay here on your hands, your elbows, or flatten all the way out onto the mat for a pancake. We're here for 3 more breaths. Take whatever option feels best to you, pointing your toes in towards your body. And walk your hands back in, bring your feet into a comfortable position. Thank you guys so much for joining Habitual. Such a pleasure to guide you through this yoga for soccer players. Stack this on with any other video we have, maybe a meditation, get you game ready, zoned in. I hope your legs are feeling a little extra cared for, a little bit more mobile. Kill it on the field. We will see you tomorrow.